Welcome back to Morning Sun Homestead. My name is Marianne. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is the first time, we hope that you enjoy our content. Today we're going to be making powdered eggs. Powdered eggs is something that's easy to make at home, and it's also shelf stable for up to 25 years. The first thing that we have is 1 dozen of eggs. This is eggs that our hens have laid, so that's why we have the multicolors. I'm going to crack them into a bowl. Now, if you happen to get an eggshell in the egg itself, you just need to put a little bit of water on your fingers, and that will come out much easier, or also use one of the eggshells. Egg powder is great to have during the time that your hens are not laying, or there's no eggs on the store shelves, or as now, when the price of eggs are very expensive. Egg powder can be used to cook with in any sort of dry mix, cakes, pies. It won't work for scrambled eggs, but we can live without scrambled eggs as long as we have eggs to be able to put into our snacks and different things that we have that we need. We have cracked 1 dozen of eggs, and they're in our bowl. We have no shells. Now we're going to beat it up with this fork, just so everything's blended together well. We're going to put it in a blender and beat it together more, but I like to do this just to make sure I didn't miss any eggshells that may have went in, and to get it initially started together. Now we have all these eggshells. We have a video on what you can do with this, so make sure that you don't throw your eggshells away. They are full of nutrients, and there's no reason to waste these. If you want to make this egg powder and you don't have a blender, you can use the fork. Just do smaller batches. I would suggest doing 6 at a time instead of 12, just so you would be able to mix everything a little bit better. We want this fully mixed, and it needs to be that way so when we put it on our sheets to dry, that we're not just getting one bunch of powder that's all yolk or one bunch of powder that's all whites. It only takes a few seconds in the blender to mix it up well. As you can see, because I was already pre-mixed, it was pretty well already done. But I did want to show you that so you would know that you do not have to have a blender. Now we're a little bit foamy at the top, but the eggs are down in there, and now we're going to put them on our dehydrator trays, and we will put them to dehydrate for, it's going to take about 4 to 6 hours at 165 degrees. These are our trays for our dehydrator. We have an Excalibur dehydrator, and we have put down a paper that's very similar to a parchment paper. But this is an oily paper that came with our dehydrator. It's something, as you can see, it's going to run off. So we have found an easier method than trying to put it on trays. We're just trying to show you that it's not impossible, but it is a difficult task. It's much easier if we use small trays that have a lip. So we have some pans that fit on the trays of our dehydrator, and that's what we're going to use. So you can see the small lip on the trays here. It's a big difference when we're doing our eggs, because when we're trying to do the powdered eggs, it's all liquid. It's just like a scramble, but you don't have anything to draw any sort of texture together to make it where it's thicker. So when you put them on these trays, it keeps everything from running out, which works really well. It's also a whole lot simpler to get it to your dryer than it is with the dryer tray itself. Now these pans will fit onto ours perfectly. We did not buy them special. They came from a sun oven that we also have, which we're going to be doing some videos on this summer. We're also drying our fruit roll-ups at this point, so we're trying to do as many things in the dryer as possible. We're going to put our lid on, and we'll get it started for the next few hours at 165 degrees. Our eggs dried at the same time that we were doing some fruit roll-ups. They did really well. Most of the time they kind of bubble up, but these didn't. So we're just going to use the scraper to scrape them loose. Then we're going to put them back on the dryer for a little bit longer just to make sure we have no moisture. I just use the pan and I get a flat and just scrape it up. Now you'll have some that flies. We just need to kind of protect it with our hands. And as you can see, we're getting all kind of powder up here. We're going to blend that in our blender to make it very fine and put it out to dry again. Now that we have, this is a dozen of eggs, so you can see how compact it gets once we're drying it out. I'm going to put it into this NutriBullet, and we're going to grind it into a finer powder. You can see how fine of a powder this ground into. This needs to be dried again. It probably does have some moisture in it. We need to spread it around. And I can kind of feel the moisture. It's warm. You want to break up any chunks that's in there and spread it around. Now you can use a pan in your dryer, or you could use parchment paper if you don't have anything to put across the trays. Once it's spread out sufficiently, we're going to put it in the dryer. We will dry it at 165, I think it's 165, yes it is, 165 degrees again for approximately 2 hours. We will test that in about an hour, see how it is, but most of the time it has to go for about 2 hours. Our egg powder has completely dried. We ran it at 165 for 3 hours after we have ground everything. Now we're going to put it in a jar. I'm going to use a quart jar that's glass to store it in. Then I can use it for my cooking. I won't be able to use this for like scrambled eggs, but if we make a cake or if we need any kind of eggs in our cooking, this is what makes it easy to do. And in the wintertime, a lot of times our chickens will slack off of laying. We also water glass our eggs. We haven't done a video of that yet, but we will. And so you want to stay tuned for that, so you can find that on our channel in the next few weeks. We've been very fortunate this winter. Our chickens have laid very well. But it's always nice to have a backup, because there has been times that we have ran out of eggs. So of course I'll just continue to fill this jar up. Once it's full, I'll put a lid on it and mark the date so we know what that is, and this will be used according to how we take them off the shelf. We hope that you liked this video, and that you continue to visit our channel to learn all sort of tips and hacks in the kitchen and through the garden, and recipes that can help your family become healthier. Have a great day.